Welcome to Superstitions and Traditions, our podcast about history and all of the fun we had in the past.
Oh my.
I'm Kristen.
And I'm Trish.
And today is Product Review Historical Edition.
This is my first one of those. So
it is your first one.
It is, I know. I'm excited about my product.
I know. It will be fun. So what we do is we discuss a product from the past. And then we rate it.
Okay.
We give it
There
our
have been some
stars.
interesting products from the past. I can't wait to see what today's is.
Okay, so today, in honor of Black History Month, because it's February.
I do love February and Black History Month. So.
Me too. So today we are going to talk about the Negro Motorist Green Book.
Okay, do tell.
Okay, so it was a guidebook for Black travelers. It was created and published by a New York Black postal worker named Victor Hugo Green.
Hence the name of the
Green Book.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was published from 1936 to 1966 during the Jim Crow era, when segregation, prior to the Civil Rights Act of 1964, when segregation was the law of the land.
Okay.
So we're kind of at a point where the middle class has grown a little bit. We have cars now, and public transportation like buses and things were segregated. So traveling with the public transportation was difficult for African American travelers because they could get kicked off the bus at any time to accommodate white travelers.
Right.
So
not to mention harassment, fear of all of those other things.
Right. We are getting out of the Great Depression and kind of on a more financially stable playing field kind of across the board.
Okay.
And there are more cars on the road because they were invented.
Right. And
they're
depression, so they're invented,
yes.
And people can afford them.
And people can afford them.
Okay.
So there are more travelers, both black and white, traveling by personally owned vehicles.
Which means across state lines.
There's freedom.
Yes.
There's freedom now that had never existed before when you're walking or traveling by horse and buggy and things like that. So, and then with the Great Depression, even though we were working on cars and getting them out, Great Depression hits and nobody could afford them. So now it is more accessible travel and people are looking forward to it. But there are segregation laws during the Jim Crow era. So there are places where Black people aren't welcome. And Victor Hugo Green tried to, or did actually, this was often referred to as the Bible for Black travelers. He tried to alleviate some pressures of traveling by outlining places that were friendly to Black people with lodging, dining, gas stations.
Wow. Okay.
And also alerting them to communities where they were more likely to face harassment or physical violence.
So even if that meant sometimes going hundreds of miles out of your way.
Yes.
Okay.
But the primary purpose of it was to help Black travelers identify places where they could eat, they could get gas or their car service, and they were safe.
Okay.
So he created the book. At first, it was just New York, because that's where he knew. But it eventually was expanded to cover all of North America, including Canada and Mexico. His words specifically were, he created the book to give the Negro traveler information that will keep him from running into difficulties, embarrassments, and to make his trip more enjoyable. So
I think he worded that very well.
Yes. The first issue was just New York, and it was a success.
And the first was published 1936.
1936.
Okay.
Yes. So after that, he offered $1 to his readers to provide updated information. And it kind of expanded it to cover North America.
Oh, okay.
By 1941, so within 5 years, it had grown so much that he increased his payments to $5 for people who offered updates. Gave him information to update his books, and he also...
So he would pay the company...
He would pay the individual.
The individual. $5 if they would go out and check to see what places were safe.
Right. Even if they didn't go out and check, if they just wrote him a letter and said, "Hey, I know of this area.
I have an aunt that lives here or something, and this is
and if
safe.
It was credible information,
then
he would pay them.
Okay.
He also got a lot of his information from his colleagues at the Postal Service.
Because they would deliver mail, so they would know. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, and at this time and currently, actually, there's a large population of Black Americans working in the U.S. Postal Service. So they had access to information based on, they stopped at every place on their route. So they knew stuff.
They did know stuff. Oh, yes. Postal people know.
They know
lots
stuff.
Of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
After the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which outlawed the racial discrimination that necessitated this book, publications dwindled, and by 1966 was the last one.
Okay.
So, it was such a big hit, with such a necessity. Jewish travelers were also facing discrimination in their own right. And so there was a Jewish traveler's guide similar to this.
Was it during this same time as well? Okay.
Yes.
So how did you purchase the book? I mean, how would you know where to go to get the book?
It was
or
just
was it
kind
free?
of like a magazine. You purchased it where you purchased books or magazines or like newsstands.
So like there would be places that were friendly to Jewish or to the Black population. Yeah. You could go buy the book there.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't. I mean, because we're segregated, so
so you couldn't.
I don't think it was on the newsstand of the white bookstores because they don't need it.
Right. Yes, but there were. It wasn't like you had to go find somewhere secret.
No, it was out there. It was open. Everybody knew about it, and
I think it's a great product. I mean, I think the gay population had something similar. I mean, just places that that were gay friendly, or that you could go when you knew that you were safe. More so in the 60s and 70s. A lot of times back then they just hid so no one knew. But there's always those places that where you're safe.
Yeah. And, we're traveling, so we're not stuck in our community.
Right. And
you can't know, you're not going to know until you get there without some kind of guide to help you.
Oh, gosh, yes. So. I mean, you think about that fear that would be associated with traveling across, or taking, your family. Your family could just be traveling somewhere, and you don't know where the places that you can go to keep your family safe, but you need to go visit family, or maybe you're looking to relocate, find a job, or just to go relax.
Just to go. There are resorts that are segregated too. So this listed resorts in other states or other communities.
So then you could leave your community and you could go basically out and see what was going on in the rest of the world. Yeah. Okay. How do I grade? What are my grades available for?
1 to 5 stars.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 5-star.
Okay, I'll give it a 5-star too.
I'm sad that we were at a place where we needed this.
Yes.
We're the Black community and the Jewish community and the gay community needed a book. But the fact that there were people out there willing to provide the book and do the research and where people could go keep their families safe and travel.
And enjoy life.
Yes, and just somewhat
branch out.
Right. You think about, Victor Hugo Green and the amount of time and work that went into publishing that.
On top of his job. This wasn't his...
because he worked for the post office too, right?
Yeah, he was a postal carrier.
And he started in New York, so that came from just, hey, these are places you can go from where we travel, and then it branched out.
Yeah.
Give it a 5-star. I may even go 6 stars. I know that's not an option, but
this is our show. We can
we go?
We can give it 6 stars.
We can go. I go 6 stars.
Because I have a friend that he remembers his dad's.
Really?
But
that's not. Think about that. That's not very much removed from. The 60s or not that long ago.
He
I was
was
born in
born in-
61.
And the friend of mine was born in 59, so his childhood.
Oh yeah, I mean,
His childhood, they were using it.
I mean that was my childhood that they would be using it as well.
Yeah.
It's horribly sad. I mean, how far we've come. How far we still need to go, though. I mean, we can look at that.
That's how far we've come.
How far we've come is pretty amazing.
Yes. But I agree. 5, 6, 9,
7, maybe 90 stars.
90
Thank
stars.
you, Victor Hugo Green.
Thank you, Victor Hugo Green.
I know. I love it.
Me too. Yeah, I think it was a good product.
I think it was a very good product.
So, all right, let us know what you think in the comments on Spotify or YouTube, and come back for more fun.
And everybody have, excuse me, safe travels to everybody
Safe
out
travels.
there. Safe travels.
Get out there.
Be
See
kind.
the world.
See the world.